connecting to the internet.
Internet.
Networking software.
World Wide Web thing on a computer today.
Computer.
Net Surfer Pro.
Next, we actually have the second part of the skit, breaking news.
Another interlude.
This one I know very well because I usually skip the first and last skits when I listen to the album, but this one's smack dab in the middle.
Yep.
And it's billions say they don't really know their real partner.
Yeah.
I'm checking mine for passports and fake IDs now.
Yeah. I've already reported mine to the police.
Yeah, just like if the news told you to report your partner to the police without any evidence or reason, would you do it?
It's a really good skit.
Yeah.
And then we get a great title.
Now Sir, a War is on. Which is not a palindrome.
Now Sir, a War is won.
A War is won.
Which is a palindrome.
So this is a twist on the palindrome, No Sir, a War is on.
Yes.
So this is the response to that palindrome. A war is on? No, sir.
Now sir, a war is won.
Fucking... There's no spaces in this.
You're the palindrome guy.
There's no spaces in this.
You should be seeing everything without spaces right now. That's how you find the palindromes, I thought.
Alright, so yeah, this is a palindrome. This song's really interesting because I think there's two main ways you can really take it, and they're very different.
Yes.
So, the verses always make me think of a mass shooter.
Yeah!
Hit that trigger like a nuclear button, your brain shuts down and your rage starts summon. Which, by the way, Chickadee China, the Chinese chicken.
God damn it. Oh, give that idea to fucking DJ Cummerbund. See that cursed mashup.
I thought you were going to say to Bare Naked Ladies. They need to atone for that song. You ever realize what he said about Sailor Moon in that song?
Yeah.
I'm canceling Bare Naked Ladies.
It makes him think the wrong thing. I think the wrong thing was making that lyric.
Yeah.
Look, if I had $1 million, I'd buy you a green dress. But not a real green dress. That's cruel.
I'd buy you a new life.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, so, I mean, there's references to that. The line, take cover till the beast is gone, feels like the way people treat mass shooters as, like, rampant bulls that all you can do is just let them do their thing.
Yeah.
Just take cover while they run around and get tired.
Yeah, let the storm pass over you, and it's like, that's no.
Yeah.
I also love the reference to the beast here because, like, one of the few and only times that we really like to talk about mental health in this country is after a mass shooting to deflect from the conversation about gun control. And that's always the worst time to talk about it, too, because... one, most mass shooters are a lot of white dudes, and not to make generalizations, but there's very complicated reasons, but there's also very simple reasons, and all I'm saying is that the Columbine kids were a couple of Nazis, and we rehabilitated them because we didn't want to actually sit and go, hey, maybe stochastic terrorism is a thing. So
I want to bring up a real life thing that happened recently, and I'm going to not joke about it because that would be bad. So in St. Louis, a week or two ago, there was a shooting at a party downtown in like a rented office room.
I didn't actually know about this.
Done by like a couple of 14-year-olds. And here's the thing, in Missouri, it is not illegal for a 14-year-old to open carry. Missouri has some of the most lax gun control laws in the entire nation, and, pretty much the entire world to an extent.
I mean, if it's even lax by the US's standards.
And even people who would be like, oh, the police should have done something, but the police aren't getting funded, the pro-blue line people are forgetting that it's legal for them to walk around with the gun, so the police couldn't do anything until they already shot, even then.
Yeah.
And, that's if the police wanted to go in and do their job.
God, yeah, that's...
So, like, the obvious thing is that kids shouldn't have access to guns like that, but... seeing the right-wing talking point was that these aren't just kids, they're criminals. And it's like, this is the way they vilify people that really shouldn't have... They avoid the conversation of having gun control laws and, other services by just saying that this kid was a bad egg, they're a beast that would have been, raging at any moment whether or not they had a gun, that like they're a criminal. They're not, once they murder, they lose their right to be a child.
Yeah.
Completely missing the forest for the tree.
Yeah, it's whether the mass shooter is just a criminal who is always going to do this, or a misbegotten soul who is pushed to a terrible thing, is always also dependent on the skin color of the perpetrator.
Oh yeah, the perpetrators for this shooting were black.
Yeah, so of course they were the ones that got criminalized, but God forbid we criminalize the tons and the hundreds of white mass shooters that whenever a kid does it at high school or whatever, it's always, oh well, what if they were bullied? What if they were, what if they had mental problems? And it's like, most people with mental problems don't do that, actually.
Yeah.
So to get back to the core themes.
So yeah, that's the thing. So then the chorus of Now Sir, a War Is Won is like, give it a name and it won't solve the problem. And I think this is where the song kind of reaches a fork in the road.
Yes.
Because this does call back to the bit from I Bet They're Asleep in New York about like, just because you have a name for your disease doesn't actually fix it immediately.
Yes.
There's so many other things that have to go on, but people think it's like, oh, you have depression, and that's the end of the intensive, discussions over your emotional state and all that.
Yeah, we've solved it. It's anxiety.
Yeah,
That's
take this
all
pill
you need.
now, and that's it. I'll see you in a year. But also, it could be viewed as the way that fascism relies on taking your problems and giving them a name, in this case, putting them on an oppressed group.
Yeah.
Rather than, addressing the real cause of those problems. And then taking out your hatred on that group isn't going to solve the problem.
Yeah, yeah. The way that fascism works by sort of riling people up and then just kind of setting them down and then washing their hands of what happens next is extremely prominent in the modern day. And this feels like, while this is still about anxiety, hatred, frustration, it does feel like a very abjectly political song in that sense as well.
Mm-hmm. Now, the bridge for this song has two interesting things. One is that it introduces the hiding motif.
Yes.
This is another running theme in the album, is hiding to hide away your vulnerabilities.
Yes.
It also brings back the cancer motif with the line, "There's no tool suitable to cut this cancer."
Yes.
And I think that's interesting because with guns being so prevalent throughout this song, it's like not even a gun is going to help the root problems.
Yes.
Whoever you're aiming it at, that's not going to help. It's not going to do any better at cutting out the cancer.
Yeah. So we're at the fork. We're like, we've addressed the problem. Now let's solve the problem. And now that gets into 24 months only.
Oh yeah, this song is great.
This song is so good.
This is great because I have heard this song before from many people.
Yeah.
So the verses are all platitudes from people who don't take mental health seriously, downplaying your problems and being patronizing. It's things like, you don't look sick. You never told me you were ill. What's your yardstick? Like, are you really having that much problem?
Yeah.
Are you sure it's not just a little bit and you're just overreacting?
I love the line of, it could be worse because you could be dead or better.
Yeah. Like, it could be dead or deader.
Dead or deader.
I think so.
See, I thought it was dead or better because I thought it was kind of essentially a cheeky jab about, like, it's like you could be dead, or even worse, you could actually have your problems be solved.
Genius says it's dead or deader.
Ah, damn. Well, dead or deader is still pretty good.
I also, I love, I don't know why you look so sad, you should get well. And then also try a smile so you don't look depressed. Yeah, oh, it's not just being sad.
Yeah, just smile more.
Yeah.
I love this song. I love the song, and for multiple reasons, but the reason that I'll specifically say is that, like, part of anxiety, part of, like, being anxious, being depressed, and part of the album too is always like, what if I say the wrong thing? What if I make people upset with me? And I think this does a lot to sort of remind you that while there are certainly people that, like, you might upset, that you don't want to upset, a lot of times when you're trying to keep up this kayfabe, when you're masking like this, you're masking for the sake of assholes.
Yeah.
You're masking for the sake of people who already were going to treat you like shit. And that doesn't mean don't seek help. That doesn't mean, don't try and, help yourself, take care of yourself. But that does, I think it's sort of like a good little perspective piece about like, this is how neurotypical people talk about neurodivergence, and realistically, like, solidarity with neurodivergent people will oftentimes trump trying to mask to make random 80-year-olds like you.
Yeah. So I believe the 24 months in the title and the we can fix your problems in a little under 2 more years is supposed to be like a mental hospital stay.
Yeah.
That is my best read on it. I didn't really do research on that duration of time because I feel like that's going to be hard to do. It was like, it's either that or it's like a prescription like length that a doctor can prescribe you for. But I think it's the former.
I thought it was therapy, but
it could be therapy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's sort of like, the idea is like, if you just give me 2 years, I'll fix all your problems. And the real answer is like, they won't be 100% fixed.
Yeah.
There are things, there's medication you can take to solve a number of the issues, but fixing is never the goal. It's learning to live with yourself.
Yeah. Also, the bridge mentions decaying with me in the earth. Being buried alive is another reoccurring theme.
Yes.
I also want to mention in the outro of this song, I love you and me in this disease make 3. So that's calling Dupree a disease.
Yeah.
No, it's like in a relationship, it is hard to manage a normal working relationship when there is something this big in there. It feels like its own thing between you two.
Yeah.
Going back to Last One Standing Loses.
I think it might be, there's a more direct reference later, but it might also be a slight little reference to me, myself, and something else.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Of course.
I also want to shout out the very last line, I want to be better than this, I'm better than this me. So good.
Yes.
Hits me so hard every time. Like, I know I can be better. I want to be better. It's just hard to do that.
And then we get on to, this trend continues because we get on to a song called I Met All the Beasts in Your Thoughts.
Yeah.
My read on this is kind of like, one, I think part of it is, I think this might be slightly a perspective switch. If not a perspective switch, this might be kind of like subtly introducing the idea of, having a friend or having a partner.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, I would say the song is kind of about like the idea of powering through, making it through the day one step at a time, essentially. It's the line that I want to highlight is, you are more than one scar, you came this far. It's my turn to hold your crushed heart, take a hand from me. And I think that it is, one, it could be an allusion to partner, having friends, etc. I think it could also, frankly, be an allusion to like listening to music.
Yeah.
It's allusion to like, just finding things that help you make it through the day. And, like, it could very well be, like, just knowing that an artist out there, like Call Me Malcolm, like the band, understand what you're going through and support you.
Yeah. I want to note that, so, this being in, like, a third-person perspective switch is very potent. The first verse is sort of, like, talking about pushing somebody away. That, like, by burying somebody else, they don't have to see your scars. And ultimately, it's hit the lights, when you see your ghost, and lock your doors so no one knows you're not your condition. Like, the idea that you are hiding away, preventing anything from seeing you because of your vulnerabilities and your scars and your problems.
Yeah.
When the singer is then asking this person to push through and let them see that.
Yeah. Also, the idea of hit the lights comes up a couple times later as well.
Yeah.
Of like
and burying.
And burying, where it's like, the idea of like, if you have the lights off, then you can pretend the scars aren't there. Whereas if you have them on, you have to reconcile with them.
Yeah. I think this section of the album has a lot to do with being a recluse.
Yes.
A hikikomori for those who listen to our Yumaniki episode.
Uh-huh.
Which is apparently most of our listeners. The like there's a few songs here that all relate to this idea of burying in being buried alive is also being reclusive in staying away from other people, not, being socially reclusive. And it also brings me to the next song.
I just want to briefly say that when you said, which is apparently most of our listeners, I didn't realize that you
I meant
listen to the Yuaniki episode. I thought you were calling most of our listeners Hikikomoris.
No, I would never do that. Yeah, so that brings me to my next song, Please Still Try, which the chorus repeats, Goodbye Sunshine, I feel like that is directly being reclusive, hiding away from sunshine and fresh air and being outside with other people.
Yeah.
In favor of wanting to stay in and, be broken, not wanting other people to see you be vulnerable, not being able to move. There's another running bit through this song of like to other people, it looks like you're fine, but you're not fine, and it's an invisible thing. And the name Please Still Try cuts me really deep.
Yes.
Because in the bridge it says, I genuinely tried. Yes, I genuinely tried.
Yeah. It's I love it because part of what makes this album work for me is that while it makes fun of like people who give useless advice, and then it goes on to not give its own useless advice. It's an album that understands like, hey, you are going through a lot, and I'm not going to be the one to have the answers.
Yeah.
It doesn't tell you here's the answer to your problems. It just says, please try. Like, I can't tell you how to fix yourself, but I am going to ask you to try and, try and find what works for you.
Well, the other thing though is that there's been so many times where like people have asked me to try harder when I'm already trying as hard as I can.
Yeah.
Even like 2 weeks ago, it was like, if you make a good try, then maybe this will happen. And I'm like, I am making a good, this is the try.
Yeah.
That like, when it comes to a matter of ability, people who are better abled don't understand the amount of effort it takes. And so it looks like you're not trying when you're trying very hard.
Yeah.
And you have to repeat over and over again that you are trying very hard. God, I've never related to an album as much as this album, except for like a few other albums. Like, I relate to this album so hard.
Yeah.
It's just like me for real. The Denji clutching the TV. So good.
This is my hole. It was made for me.
I
Sickos looking through the window.
I Am a Disaster Movie, which is a great name. First verse mentions the coffin again. Good job. Dying in the coffin, buried alive, what have you. I do just like, hey, that's life with more explosions and cool spies. I will say, this song, I don't really get that part. I think, like, the idea is that a disaster movie... My best answer to it, my best read, is that a disaster movie is a movie where things spiral out of proportion and get worse and worse. But the only thing different between that and life is the special effects and Spies.
Yeah.
Like, everything else about it is pretty similar. I don't know if I would say that's true necessarily. It could be representative of, an anxious spiral. Like, when I had my anxiety worse, when it was less under control, that's definitely how I felt, that it was a constant disaster movie.
I think this is kind of, to me, this is like, essentially, where other songs are sort of like, coming up from underwater for a breath. This feels like being pushed down underwater one last time.
Yeah.
Of like, it's essentially an acknowledgement that like, it's an acknowledgement that all of those problems are still there, basically. Like, it's a brief pause to remember that while we are getting, more uplifting, more supportive near the end, it's kind of like, what do we do when we're still faced with the same problems and still, like, we're still trying, we're still making our progress, but we're still also failing. We're still also, making mistakes. And like, it's essentially the anxiety of like, what if I try and it doesn't get better?
Mm-hmm. Also, this is where we get the title drop.
Yes, a little bit of me, a little bit of myself, or a little myself, a little bit of something else.
Yeah, I want to talk about this because I think this is... We haven't really gone super in depth about the title, and this is a great time to do so.
Yes.
So, as you mentioned, we sort of have the self, the cancer, and the beast. sort of three main figures throughout this: Father, Son, Holy Ghost.
Oh shit!
Trinity. So the self is the human. The beast is usually like the worst part. That's like the deep bad thoughts.
Yeah.
That is the dark side, the evil wolf. And then the cancer is the disease itself, the unthinking natural side of it.
Yeah.
That is like chemical imbalances and whatnot.
Yeah, it's the pure logic view of like you just have a chemical imbalance.
Yeah,
you just don't get serotonin.
The medical view, viewing the disease as a third party that just exists to poison you.
Yeah.
Additionally, there is also like all the stuff about the relationship, and I think it is worth noting that like self-care is kind of a relationship in a way.
Yeah.
And that in the way that depression and anxiety can make it hard to have relationships with other people, it makes it hard to like yourself. This song has the line, "My narcissism self-destructs." And I don't mean like yourself in a deeply narcissistic way to where you like push away other people or you're egocentric and ignore people or manipulate people, but just in the sense that I think you need to have like self-confidence.
Yeah.
Like having mental problems like this really makes it hard to actually have that, and I think is what turns you into the beast. By the way, the beast, Beauty and the Beast.
Oh shit.
That's sort of the point of the Beauty and the Beast, is that the beast had deep problems with himself that got in the way of him forming meaningful relationships.
Yes.
You know?
Yes, yeah.
I only made this connection literally just now talking about it. That like,
fair enough.
In a way, Beauty and the Beast is similar to the contents of this album, in that the beast is the beast in this sense, the dark part, and the cancer is, all the trauma and bad personality. What all did the beast have? He was a kidnapper. He was a freak.
He was extremely rude.
He was rude to an old lady.
He was rude
That's
to
right.
an old lady.
The cancer is being rude to an old lady, which is also a statement of fact.
So if you're not rude to an old lady, then don't worry, you're great.
What did my dad do? Yeah, I think it's also interesting. Obviously, me, myself, and I is the phrase.
Yeah.
And so by saying me, myself, and something else, it does still admit that it's all a reflection of one person.
Yeah.
It is not completely delineating between those three things. It's not the person, the beast, and the disease. It is all me.
Yeah.
Or it's me, you, and Dupree, which is not the title of the movie.
Yeah. Or it could be me, you, and a dog named Boo.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, I think a dog named Boo is something else, you know what I mean?
No? Are you talking about the dog from Luigi's Mansion?
Isn't Luigi the guy who bought more land in the metaverse?
Alright, so that leads us to the final main song, Sleepwalk With Me, and I love this song. So, throughout the album, we've had a lot of problems. Sleepwalk With Me, in its own words, has some answers. It is sort of a refutation of the album. It's the climax. It brings together all of the lyrical motifs once more, but like turns them around.
Yeah.
So like, call the doctor, get the priest in quick, saying like, okay, we're going to first start off by, getting help from these people.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll help, maybe it won't, who knows, but they'll come in. Then I want to get well and you make me better references 24 months only, by the way, which is cool. That like, okay, I'll try to do that. There's turn the light on so our scars stay seen. In this house, our souls are clean. Like, the soul also, it has appeared a few times. Like, the mental health being a broken soul has appeared before.
Yeah.
It's in the previous song, I'm a Disaster Movie. But in this case, it's saying like, we might have scars, but that doesn't mean that ourselves, like deep down, our true selves are broken.
Yeah.
Scars can ultimately, heal in some way. They might leave permanent scars, but they are still wounds that have healed. And it's okay to look at the scars, because everyone has them. And it's better to show them than be left in the dark.
Yeah.
I also just want to say, by the way, please have sunshine. There was a while where I moved my computer to our basement in our old house because I wanted more privacy, but it ended up just giving me a vitamin D deficiency.
Yeah, no, I stayed inside for most of not having a job.
Yep.
And just take a walk, 10 minutes. Take a walk. Yeah, just get some sun. Sun is very good for you and very necessary.
Yeah.
We are not mole people. We're not balonies.
I also love, so the second verse brings up the beast, saying, like, with the beast devoted, which, by the way, devoted calls in, religious. But it's like, somebody was able to stop the beast. Not having the rain, letting the roof cave in is sort of like, instead of keeping yourself hidden away inside the building, this basement that you've made, which is in, also spiders, this basement I've made for myself. Instead of doing that, just open the roof. It's okay if the rain falls down. Also kind of calls to mind the unclean air from Last One Standing. And then finally, you have the chorus, which says that you've had the monsters on your shoulder. Essentially, like, both people in this relationship have monsters.
Yeah.
They are helping each other now. There's, like, writing a Valentine, which I think is great, to our shattered hearts.
Yeah.
That, like, we may have cut our hearts too deep, but we can still, love, for one thing, is a Valentine. We can use love to work through this. Valentine is also often written on an image of a heart. So, like, we can push towards our ideal form of a heart.
Yeah.
Even if our hearts are broken.
I also love specifically the allusion to a shattered heart after the allusion of, like, stab out my heart, but the cancer remains. Where it's like, even if you, it's kind of feels like a message of, even if you try and fail something, that doesn't mean that you just stop. That just means you failed with this particular thing. You can try another.
Yeah.
You know what doesn't work, and that's one step.
I think it's also worth noting, like, you have a broken heart when, you lose your love, when you break up or something.
Yeah.
So if you've stabbed your heart to cut out the cancer, you've probably injured your other relationships from that.
Yeah.
And so sending a Valentine helps mend those relationships that may have fallen apart.
Yeah.
Also, there's filling grave with hope. So instead of lying down in the grave you've made for yourself, fill it up with hope so that you have something to stand on.
Yeah.
You won't sink in immediately. I cross my heart and hope to die a little happier. You cross your heart instead of shattering it, which is quite nice.
Yep.
Making a promise for the future instead of a self-destructive attack. And then finally, the song ends with a reprise of the "trying to get better, but I got no answers" from Wake Up the Monster Said.
Yeah.
But instead here it says, dream a happy ending for my disaster. I forgot to mention nightmares are also presented a lot.
Yes.
But in this case, they're not nightmares. They're dreaming. A happy ending. Maybe at the end of a movie, perhaps. For my disaster movie.
Yep.
Send a Valentine for my heart's surrender, I think it's called. Or for my heart remember? Send a Valentine.
Send a Valentine for my heart's member. Ew.
Send a Valentine to my heart to mend her.
Okay.
So if we're taking the relationship to be a straight relationship, the heart's a woman, the singer's a man. Then the me myself is also you, me, and Dupree. And then
wait, me myself and something else. Hang on a second. Wait, polyamory?
Oh, I thought you were going to say it's a multiple system.
Oh, actually, yeah, that could also work. And
then it ends. The last two words are, trying to get better, but I got some answers. I'll wait up for you. The chorus throughout this song has said, please wait up for me. And now it's saying, I'll wait up for you. That the answers are ultimately going to take time, but that is okay. I have been fixed. Or not fixed, but I've been helped. And with time, people have waited for me to help get better.
Yeah.
And now I will return the favor and wait for you.
Yeah.
This is a process that takes time and effort and support, and that is okay.
Yeah. It is okay to not be okay, and it is okay to seek answers.
Mm-hmm.
It is okay to take this journey. If I had one, I won't say conspiracy theory, if I had one digital interactive media extrapolation, sorry, it's not interaction, digital uninteractive media extrapolation, Doom, if you will, it would be that while there are allusions to other people, my extrapolation is that this is essentially an album that is a love a declaration of love to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It is that there is no second person. There are like allusions to other people, quote unquote, but like it is that when there are, you know, elements of like Valentine, of like love, it is essentially self-love. It is self-care.
It's
it is
the opposite of self-hate.
Yeah. And so like that is how I tended to read a lot of these, was like it can be a real, you know, like a literal relationship, and I'm not going to sit here and say that anyone is wrong for having that particular view. But I took it to mean essentially like when it says like I'll wait up for you, that it's sort of a message to sort of like my real self, quote unquote. It's like or more maybe like my idealized version of myself. Yeah. It's like, yes, I am the self that is here, and there's a more ideal version of me that I'm trying to work towards, and it's okay that I'm still working towards that.
Yeah, it is reminding yourself that change takes time and that's okay. You don't have to be better immediately. It is positive affirmations. And like, while the rest of the album often feels like a downward spiral through depression and anxiety and panic and paranoia, this song feels like mindfulness.
Yeah.
It is thinking thoughts and then reflecting on those thoughts as you think them and being able to observe your thoughts critically.
Yeah.
That like this is a meditation practice, mindfulness. It's the idea of like, you say that you're digging your own grave, but like, are you really? Because you're still alive.
Yeah.
So it could be that you feel like you're digging your own grave, and this is like a process. You know, this is sort of like cognitive behavioral therapy does a similar thing.
Yeah.
Of it's okay to have negative thoughts, but you need to be able to fight them. And not with a physical tool, but with you know, answers. Yeah,
it's like there are physical things that will help. There is therapy, there is medication, there is meditation. There are tons of things that can help, and like the answer of what works is just, it's different for everybody.
Yeah.
And it's okay to be trying new things, trying to find out what specifically works for you. I don't know if I got into it on a previous episode, but like in general, I have this sort of thought over existence in general, which is that people kind of have this terror that there isn't anything else.
You brought this up on the previous episode.
Yeah, okay, I did. I'll to extremely briefly summarize. People have this terror that there isn't anything else, that like if you're alone, you're genuinely alone. There is not anything, you know, otherworldly. It's just us. And I think that my answer to that terror really is just like, that doesn't make it less meaningful. It's just like, there might not be an answer to you as a person, but you can still live a good life even without answers. There might be an answer to you as a person, and finding that answer might help you live a better life. I don't have the answer for you. You have to find the answer for yourself. But whatever it takes to get there, it's okay, because it works for you. And that's my soapbox.
And that takes it to our last song, Good Night, which turns the paranoia propaganda newscast into a puff piece.
Yep, I love it. It
completely disarms that news. Yeah. To go with, this, you know, Sleepwalk With Me being about turning all these ideas of negativity on their head, this just turns the news into a laughable joke.
Yeah, I love it. It's a great little, like, because it's like the newscasters are like, when we come back, a viral video of a dog on a surfboard, and like both of them are literally, you know, means that the dogs could be coming for your property and your children. Please stay tuned. And it's like it's a really funny message about like the news itself. And I think it's also like a little message about like how so many of the anxieties that we might have are ultimately making a mountain out of a molehill, where it's like there are genuine anxieties, but there are also anxieties where you get into a spiral and then you like take a step back and go like, I don't really need, like, this is actually a really silly thing. And it's fun, and it's okay to laugh at yourself about that too.
But also, the news tries to make everything out to be bad, especially
Yes.
Fox News.
Especially Fox News.
Especially Fox.
Especially-
You can replace that with a green M&M.
Yeah. I was about to say.
Or Dr. Seuss, or Bud Light, or, whatever
Oh, man.
the other thing is. Skullgirls.
Yeah. Oh, man. Cold Shot Skullgirls on Fox News. They're gonna get the shit. They're gonna get the shithead who designed the game, who did the coding initially, and he's gonna be like, "I've been
God.
canceled because of woke Twitter."
Oh, God. What a downward fall to go from being a Potemkin player to being on Fox News that would be.
Oh, man.
I think we're about done. This album's great.
This album is
It's
wonderful.
so good.
Really good album to come out in 2020, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Like it came out in May, which was probably a perfect timing. Like,
Oh, yeah.
right as the anxiety was really hitting a lot of people.
Mhm.
And so I can absolutely see why this could easily become a favorite album. I do not know that I would call it a personal favorite of mine, but a good number of these songs have immediately made it to my liked everything playlist.
I just relate to it so hard.
Oh,
It might even be in my top 5 at this point. It's just that good.
Oh yeah, no. There are more than a few songs that I've listened to and I've just gone like, yeah, this gets it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I look forward to.
Wonderful.
I
You
look
were close.
Sorry,
Sorry,
you on a stump.
I swear, I just have this reaction. It's like a reflex.
Yeah.
There are some words I hear that, Doctor, you gotta help me. Sometimes somebody will just say something and my mouth makes noises.
Solution is simple. Solution is simple. You must listen to Net Surfer Pro podcast. There has host named Matthew Marisa, who makes various different references to Professor Oak.
But Doctor...
Hey, thank you very much for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening. You can follow us on any podcasting platform you like. Give us a like, give us a rating, give us a review if the platform has that. Let us know how we're doing. Let us know what you think we should do episodes on, or what you think we might be interested in. You could also follow us on Twitter at NetSurferPro, where we tweet updates and teasers on upcoming episodes, as well as just updates on when episodes will be coming up. I think it seems like we're moving to more of a bi-weekly schedule for the moment.
Yeah, between scheduling conflicts, bi-weekly is probably going to be what we're switching towards. Having a job is very good, but also...
Yeah, don't have time for this podcast that doesn't make us any money.
But
yet.
if you would like it to make us money...
then do all those things I said.
Yep.
And share this with your friends, people who might be interested. You know, we can't self-promote. That's illegal on the internet.
Yeah. Every time a person comes into the store that I work at, they're like, so do you like anything? And I have to go, no, I don't like anything, and I've never talked about anything on a podcast.
I don't work at a comic shop. I can't like anything in here.
Yeah.
What's a board game? What's a man spider?
What's the manga? An anime and manga?
Anime?
Anime? Garugamesh?
You can also follow me on Twitter at Twackaroo, TWAKAROO, where I tweet updates on what I'm doing, my thoughts on stuff, interesting things happening. I made a bit about how the Ocean Gate CEO was just doing the big ship audio log from the Looker. I was pretty proud of that connection.
Yep.
You can also follow that for updates on when I go live on my stream on twitch.tv/twack. I stream on weekdays from about 1 p.m. Central Time to 3 or 4 p.m. Central Time. And recently, I'm still in Mega May, despite what the calendar might say. We're almost at July, but I don't give a heck. I'm gonna finish this goddamn jump and shoot series. I'm on X4. Probably by the time this comes out, I'll be on X5 or X6, which means I still have the best Mega Man game left.
Which is 9, I believe.
Oh, you bet.
Hell yeah.
Oh,
and then you
bet.
also have 10 and 11.
I mean, those are also very good, though.
Fair enough.
And then Street Fighter X Mega Man, which I've never actually beaten, and I think I'm going to have to take a break between playing 11 and that, because I've played so much Mega Man. I've played so much Mega Man.
Now, do you need to play Mighty Number 9, though?
No, I did not raise enough money for charity, you cheapskates. You did not give enough money for a charitable cause, so I do not have to play Mighty Number 9.
Dang. Well...
Sucks to suck. Try next year, I guess.
Yeah. Make my friend suffer, please.
I'm actually more sad I didn't get to reach the tier to play Mega Mari. That would have been really fun.
Yeah. Hey, as for me, you can find me on Twitter and on TikTok at Galen Wilson. That's at GALENWILS0N. I post my hot takes and sometimes videos. I'm honestly thinking of doing like a slightly more in-depth video about the Ocean Gate thing, but I'll leave it for that particular channel. You can find me on YouTube at The Only Galen on YouTube, and you can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/machinegunvampire. I swear I mean to be trying to actually stream things more now that I kind of have the ability to and don't have to worry about a million things. I only have to worry about one thing, and that's a job.
Yep. Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Working at a comic store is great. Bye!
I really want one of those like movie trailers that takes a nice song and makes it all creepy and weird, but it's like, the Venga bus is coming and everybody's jumping.
Just like slow piano, just and then it's like, and it's just like, it's coming.
Alright, that'll be a good post-credits scene.
Yeah.